Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted.
Hello and welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. There is this belief out there that once you hit your 50s and 60s, your body is destined to slow down. Your strength vanishes, your energy disappears, and your best days are behind you. And you might actually see your aging parents, or maybe you have relatives or friends that are struggling with aches and fatigue, and it terrifies you because you feel like that's what's in store for you too. I've even heard some women say that lifting weights is dangerous at this age, or that transformation is impossible. But today, we are going to completely bust those myths. And to help me do that, I am joined by my incredible client, Tammy, who, by the way, is in her 60s and proof that it couldn't be further from the truth. She is hip thrusting over 200 pounds. She's building muscle, losing body fat, toning her body, gaining energy, and living one of the most adventurous lives that I've ever heard of. Ski patrolling, whitewater rafting, hiking, and so much more. You'll hear about that today. But Tammy's showing everyone that with the right plan, strategies, support, and mindset, you can actually age backwards, and these can be the best years of your life. So her story, and I'm so excited to get into it, is going to bust through limiting beliefs and show you what's possible. So Tammy, thank you so much for joining me and being on the Get Sculpted podcast.
I am so excited to be here and to be able to share my journey with everybody and to let them realize how amazing their life can be after the age of 60.
I'm just so excited about this. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So many women in their 50s and 60s, they tell us that we're fighting this uphill battle when it comes to their energy, metabolism, and feeling good in their body. But they think that this is just a part of aging, right? That they're going to get stiff and achy, and it's just what happens. And I know this resonates with you so much. What was life like before you started your fitness journey, and what were you frustrated with? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So before I started my fitness journey, I, again, was still a very active person. I was ski patrolling. I've been whitewater rafting for over 25 years. I've always been an avid hiker and camper.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that I was frustrated with the weight that was coming on. It was like no matter what I did in my younger years wasn't working now. And when I would talk to women that were in menopause like I was, they were saying, oh, that's just part of life. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you just have to accept that. And I was just like, this just can't be true.
And it's not. You proved them wrong. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong. I had done Weight Watchers in the past. I had lost 50 pounds. But again, the weight had crept back up. I had put on 40 pounds. And no matter what I tried, nothing was working. So I felt defeated. And I had resigned to the fact that that was my new normal. But it really made me angry. But I was active and I wanted this active life to continue into my old age. And I was fearful that I wouldn't be able to live the vision that I had for myself. So I knew I had to make some changes and find something.
Absolutely. And did you have any beliefs around age, hormone, strength? Because you were hearing this from all these other people. So were you questioning that as well?
Like I said, I was told that what I was going through was normal and it was just the way it was. There was nothing I could do about it. The weight gain was the normal part of that time of your life. So the eat less, move more theory wasn't working. And I'm sorry, but I really enjoy food and I enjoy cooking. And the idea of living my life with no joy around good food felt awful. And I just wasn't willing to live that way anymore. It's just like, that's not happy or satisfying to me.
And it's not sustainable. Yep.
No. And I was moving a lot, but nothing was giving me results. So also losing the muscle and the strength that came along with it. But also hormone therapy treatment at that time wasn't an option for me due to some high risks with cancer that the doctors didn't want me on that path. And I wasn't really suffering any of those symptoms with menopause. Like I wasn't a
Right.
crazy bat woman. I mean, I had a grandmother that was institutionalized during her menopause and
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, luckily I didn't, have those emotional swings and I didn't have the severe hot flashes or anything like that. Mine was
Mhm.
pretty uneventful during that time. So it was pretty easy to navigate.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just what I believed, that it was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to carry this weight and just accept it.
Okay, so you were feeling all of that. What was it that finally made you take action then? Because a lot of women in this situation would kind of just be like, all right, well, this is my destiny. This is what it is. And they'd lay down and take it. What made you finally decide to take that action?
So I was actually on a ski trip with a good Canadian friend of mine. We were staying in the same condo and I was watching her and she was measuring her food and I was watching what she was eating and she was eating a lot of food. She wasn't being deprived from anything, but she was really being conscientious about what she was doing.
Right.
And I also had realized that I hadn't seen her in a couple of years and her physique was changing amazing. I couldn't believe the transformation I was seeing. So I started to talk to her and say, what is it that you're doing? I'm watching you. So she told me that she was lifting weights and that she was on this meal program. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and she said it was all online. And I said, gosh, is there anything like that in the United States? And she goes, well, I don't know, here's my coach's information. So I reached out and decided to jump all in. In fact, the coach at the time, wouldn't even let me delay. I was going, oh, okay, well, I want to start at the end of the month because I've got this going on, this going on, this going. And they're like, nope, here it is. You're starting, tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I jumped in and all of a sudden I'm eating more calories. And I remember the first 2 weeks reaching out to my friend and going, I can't do this. I can't get all this food down. How do you do this? And she goes, just break it up in smaller meals, get it done throughout the day. And I promise you it won't be long and you'll be screaming for more calories and you'll be hungry.
It happens fast.
Yeah, it does. And so I started seeing that, but then I started to see my strength. I started to see a difference in my physique. I started to see my clothes fit different. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. This is really working. And it just kept me motivated to keep going.
Yeah. And you brought up a really good point. There really is no perfect time. I know we hear that all the time, but if you think about your life, it's like you're in a busy phase. What you're busy with in that moment might go away, but then it's just replaced by something else.
Exactly.
So I love that there was no delay, because if you also learn how to navigate nutrition and training and make it fit into your life, then you're able to adjust that no matter what you're going through. And one of the things we talk about a lot on the Get Sculpted podcast is stopping that start and stop yo-yo. You know what I mean? They're doing that dance. They're like on, they're off, they're on, they're off, because it's like no progress is going to happen that way. So that's a really good point. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. I want to talk now about just mindset, okay? The idea that age doesn't define you. So I think one of the biggest hurdles that I see women telling us mindset-wise is that they wish they had started earlier, because they really believe that now in their 50s and 60s, it's just too late to do anything. And that thought alone, it stops a lot of women from even starting, right? Like I said, they resign themselves to the fact that this is how it is. But we know, and you're going to tell everybody, that your age doesn't define your potential. It's your mindset that's holding you back. Once you start believing that you can change, everything shifts. So let's talk about what your biggest fear or hesitation was before you started. Like, did you ever think that it was too late for you?
Well, my biggest fear was that it wasn't going to work, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to invest all this time and energy and then the financial piece too. And it was just going to be something else that I was going to put my whole self in, because I'm one of those people, it's all or nothing, almost that perfectionist thing. But it was like, I was going to end up feeling the same way. And I was also not convinced that I only had to give 45 minutes a day, 3 to 4 days a week, right? Because, I hear those people going, oh gosh, I'm doing 3 hours a day in the gym and I'm getting up at 4 a.m. and I'm going to work out for an hour and a half before I go to work. And then I go back to the gym afterwards.
No, thank you.
And I'm like, I can't do that. I work 3 jobs. I can't fit that into my life.
And who wants to?
Right?
Who wants to do that?
Exactly. Yeah. But also, I'm not a gym rat. I'm not a person, like, if I have to leave the house to go to the gym, I'm not getting there. To go there and then to shower and to change and then to leave for work, that just doesn't work for me either. I have to be able to do something when I first get up at home and get ready at home. I was convinced that I could do this at home. So I started investing in some of the smaller weights and the things that I needed to do at home. And I started seeing results. And then I got excited because then I wanted to buy more gear and more stuff.
We love gym toys. Yeah. But it's true. And you brought up a good point there too about like working smarter, not harder, right? Like, why would you want to be in the gym 7 days a week, working out for hours when you can get even better results by being more effective 3 days a week, 4 days a week for 40 minutes, 45 minutes? So that's why we love work smarter, not harder, because it totally blows all of that out of the water. Also, your body needs rest and recovery. So the fact that you were able to scale back, and you also lead a very active lifestyle. So your body craved that rest and recovery. So of course, it would respond even better when you give it that. I love that. So then what was the point when you realized age wasn't actually a barrier or limitation? You finally were like, you know what, those people did not have it right. What was that moment like?
Well, so again, when I started to see the results, when my body started to change, like I've always hated my arms and I would keep them covered up. And I was like, oh, I want to show off my arms. I've got arms now that I can show off. But also, I was able to go back and shop in my own closet, right? I was one of those people who's like, oh, I don't want to get rid of this. I'm going to wear this again one day, I promise, right? And I was starting to give up on myself and everything. And then it was like, oh my gosh, look, I haven't worn this pair of pants in 4 years and it's fitting again. But then also shopping, like I would go and shop before and I would just go, oh, they're changing these styles. They don't fit the same. They don't cut them like they used to, right? Trying to convince myself mentally it wasn't me and my shape, But then it was like I could start to shop again off of the rack and a size that made me mentally feel better about my. And the thing is we get in our heads, right? And we have to have those positive reinforcements. And for some reason, we put a number on what a size of clothes is and things like that. But it was just the confidence of going, oh gosh, I can go grab anything off the rack in a size I was comfortable with and it would fit me. And I didn't have to convince myself that it was the manufacturer's fault that they had changed things. And I had more energy, I had more confidence, and my age had no barrier on my success.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's when I realized that the age didn't matter.
That's amazing. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the training aspect, because again, a lot of women think that, after a certain age, you have to do light exercise. I can't even tell you how many times I've heard that, even from relatives of mine that say to me, like, I'm over 50, I'm over 60 now. Lifting is dangerous. That's what I hear all the time. I know, let's smash that. So, and we talk about it a lot on the podcast, right? That strength training it's the organ of longevity, right? That's what's going to keep you feeling good. Your muscles are strong, your bones are strong. And it's actually one of the most important tools that we have to keep our metabolism moving. Not to mention, like you said, it makes you feel so confident and so good about yourself. And you're like the perfect example of what's possible when you commit to a lifestyle like this. So for our listeners, maybe you can give just like a brief idea of like, what does your training actually look like typically? Like I know obviously it changes, but how often are you working out? What kind of things are you doing?
I'm working out 3 to 4 days a week. So again, it's kind of my schedule and sometimes life gets in the way. I wish I could just say, oh, it doesn't. I try to make that 3 at least commitment, but I'm happier when I get in the 4th, and my husband thinks I'm happier when I get in my 4th.
See, everybody benefits.
Very exactly. I start out my day, I just get up in the morning, I get a warm glass of water with some lemon juice to kind of get things going. I get my cup of coffee because you don't want to meet me without that. And then I have recently started changing to where I get my breakfast first. And I'm finding that that's really giving me the energy to lift heavier and to really push myself. Yes. So some days it will be like a full body program. And then the next day will be lower body. And then I'll have a rest day. And then the next time will be a full body, and then it'll be a leg day. And then the weekends are a rest day from lifting. But again, I'm out either skiing both days on the mountain, or I'm out hiking, or I'm doing something active because I just don't like to sit still.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the goals that I'm working on. Working with you and setting me up with what are my goals and things like that. You adjust my program to that. Also, during the summertime when the weather's nice, my rest day during the week, I love to get out and get a bicycle ride in about 40 minutes, about 7.5 to 8 miles. I've got some great hills around my house. So when I get done, I feel like I've really definitely gotten my glute and lower body exercise with that as well.
Definitely.
And then also in the summertime, rafting trips. I try to
Yeah.
take 2 or 3 5-day, 7-day rafting trips a summer. On those rafting trips, I'm rowing anywhere from 10 to 20 miles in a day. So I definitely get an upper body workout on those days. And then when we're in camp, we're usually hiking somewhere. So we'll usually hike about 4 or 5 miles. And so I definitely don't feel like I'm missing out on my weightlifting on those days.
I was going to say, when do you rest exactly? No, it's true. But you know what? This is all connected, right?
Yep.
Like you're working smarter, not harder in the gym. So everything is very strategic, planned out. You're gaining that strength. And now you see how it translates into your life. This is why you're able to do all of these amazing things. This gives you your life. So I love that. And I think the point to drive home as well is like what you said, you're not in the gym 7 days a week. You're in the gym 3-4 times a week for a designated period of time that is not hours and hours. So this is actually giving back to your life. Like you're gaining so much from this strategy. I love it. And I have to bring this up because everyone on our team is obsessed with this, but you are hip thrusting over 200 pounds now, which is absolutely incredible. How did hitting that milestone change what you believe was possible for yourself?
Well, so I never thought I could ever lift that much.
And we're counting. We're getting higher as we...
Right. I mean, my last time was 240. So I had bought myself a rack and weights for my home again, so I didn't have to leave my house. And I started out, with only about 115 pound of plates for my bar, and my bar is a 33-pound bar. And so I remember when I had maxed out all of those weights and I was trying to add more weights. Like I have ankle weights for diving, so I was hanging those off of them. And then I was taking straps and tying my dumbbells to the barbell to make it heavier and everything. I'm just like getting as creative. And I'm like, oh gosh, I need some bigger plates. I remember asking my husband, like, I need 45-pound plates. That would be an amazing Valentine's Day gift.
Hint, hint.
And so for Valentine's Day in 2024, he rolled in on a dolly 2 45-pound plates. I had to unload them. And so giving me that 90 pounds to add, now I'm up to 240 and I'm starting to add my little micro weights to it again. And so soon I'll probably have to buy some more bigger plates.
I love that. That's like music to my coach ears here. You have this belief now that you can do it. Like, and I remember when we started talking about lifting targets, because that's what we do with clients, because we want you to continue progressing. I remember you were like, okay, yeah, like, let's go. Like there was no hesitation because you have that belief in yourself, that trust in yourself. And I think that's what prevents a lot of women from moving forward, is that they haven't given their body an opportunity to show them that they can do these things, and it scares them. So I love that you're kind of busting that wide open for them. So we talked about it a little bit already, but tell me a little bit more about how building this kind of strength has translated into your day-to-day life. Because we always talk about how, when you get strong in one area of your life, it ripples into everything you do. So tell us a little bit about how that's translated for you.
So, you ask any of my friends, I'm a super independent person and I hate asking for help. Also, I have a husband that has some physical health issues.
Right.
And I know that I'll be able to assist him later in life because I am strong and I can lift heavy things. And when things in my work life come at me, I have the confidence to hit them head on. And I know that I can get things done because I've proven that to myself by, setting up, my schedule and priorities and things like that. It's like, okay, well, you just threw this obstacle. I'll navigate around it. I'll get it done. And I don't let it derail me. When it comes to my ski patrol life, so again, on the weekends, I work with these young guys, right? They're, in their late 20s, early 30s and stuff. And this lifestyle has given me the confidence to do the job that they do.
Love it.
I've gained their respect, and they see that I am strong and capable and that they can trust me as their equal, because we are there not only to provide support to other skiers on the mountain that are guests, but if one of us gets in trouble, we need to know that we can depend on each other to rescue each other. And so the guys have really seen me transition, and they feel that they can trust me and know that I'm there for them as well. But also, I just find that now when my first day of skiing of the season, I used to not be able to walk for 3 days because I'd be so sore and everything else. Now I end the day and I'm not even sore after the first day. I've got gas in the tank when I get off shift. And I'm on the ski hill for 10 hours a day. And my lower body and core is getting a huge workout. And without this lifestyle, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't feel the balance and the strength and everything. When we get new guys on the ski patrol or gals, we start talking and everything. And when they find out how old I am, their jaw literally drops on the floor. They're like, oh gosh, I thought you were only in your late 40s.
I love that.
And stuff. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
I love that.
Yeah. And so again, I just see myself as a very strong, independent woman. And I love it when somebody says that I'm inspiring to them and that, gosh, if Tammy can do it, I can do it, because that's what I want to do.
Yes. And you do that for so many women on our team. So many women look up to you because of, again, like the things you're doing are amazing, but it's also what you're allowing yourself to be able to do in life. So I want to talk a little bit more about this, just kind of like the lifestyle side of this, because I think it's really fascinating. I think it's a point that's worth emphasizing, that this can literally be the most vibrant time of your life. So we know that strength training is very important. We know that. But like we just said, it's also what it unlocks for you. So instead of slowing down, what you're doing is you're building this strength and you're saying yes to more things, yes to more adventures. So would you say now, like, you're more active than ever, at least since I've known you, you're doing crazy stuff. It's incredible. Like you already heard, rafting, skiing, hiking, all of these things. Tell us maybe just a bit more about how fitness has allowed you to live that lifestyle, like saying yes to the adventures.
I mean, we're all busy, right? But it comes down to time management. And so you have a right to schedule time for yourself. And that's the thing, is that that's the mindset you guys set for us. Like, it is okay to be selfish. It is okay to block time for you. And truly, it is not being selfish, is that when you do that, you end up being more present and a better person for everybody around you. You need to give yourself permission and say, it is okay. But again, you put it on your calendar, block it. I put on my work calendar, it's like, do not disturb, so that I'm not distracted, that it is my time, and I make it a priority. And I just don't let anybody to take that away from me. I mean, again, things in life happen, and once in a while it does get scrubbed when there's an emergency.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Again, if you can figure out a way to schedule that time for yourself, because you schedule, I know that busy moms schedule things with their kids' activities and stuff. It's like, well, but shouldn't you be on that calendar too?
Yes.
So make an appointment for yourself and move things around and get it done where you can, right? Because again, okay, I'll block it from 7 to 8, but again, sometimes we'll derail. So it's like, okay, then I'll look on my calendar. Where else can I fit it in? I'm going to block a new time and I'm going to move it. Because again, I feel like it's a priority for me.
Yes.
And like I said, my husband always knows when I've missed a lifting session, because I'm not as kind and friendly sometimes. And he's like, you need to go lift weights.
Yes.
When I do my weightlifting session, I leave the room feeling much more confident. I'm smiling and I'm ready to tackle the day, right? You can throw anything at me. I can do that. So I think if people are honest with themselves, you do have the time. How much does your physical and mental health mean to you? And if you make it a priority, you'll find the time. If you want to binge watch a show, put the TV show on your TV and watch that while you're working out. If you like to listen to an audiobook, put on that audiobook while you're working out. Again, we can make choices to still enjoy the things we do while we're lifting.
That's such a good point, right? Because part of what we do is we make fitness fit into your lifestyle. Like, yes, there has to be trade-offs, right? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if what you're doing now isn't working, we have to make some change, but it shouldn't be so drastic. So I love that you gave that example, right? Like, stack things with what you're already doing. That way you can maybe listen to our podcast, but I will sometimes listen to a podcast while I'm prepping some food, right? Or like you said, watch my favorite show while I'm doing a workout. Where there is a will, there is a way. But it really does come down to priority. And you should always be your first priority. But at this stage of the game, it's more important than ever. So here's something I want every woman to take from our conversation today. Results don't stop at a certain age, right? Your body's still capable of change. You can build muscle, drop fat, get stronger. You can actually feel better than you did years and years and years ago. So what are the biggest changes you've noticed in your body and strength that have surprised you the most?
Well, like I did say earlier, I always hated my arms. And so one of the things is that now that my arms are more defined, it's like I'm not scared to wear sleeveless items and stuff. I'd like to show them off. Yeah. When I would wear long sleeve shirts, they would fit tight and uncomfortable. And now it's like it fits the way it should. But also I have big hips. And that's probably why I can do the hip thrust.
Your strong hips.
Exactly. But I have a more definition to my glutes, right? It has changed the way some of my pants fit. So some of the pants that used to fit me don't fit me that same way. So I have to go to a different style to fit that glute. But those are some of the changes I've noticed. But also my upper body strength is something that I never thought I'd have. Like, being able to do some of the upper body lifts that you've assigned to me and everything, and me increasing that has really surprised me.
I love that.
Wow, I can really do this. Yeah.
That's amazing because, again, so many women think that they're going to lose strength as they age. But here you are proving, oh no, that can go right the other way. Because I bet you're a million times stronger now than you were when you were 20 or 30.
Oh,
right?
So much more. Yes.
And you're showing those guys on the ski hill just how strong you are. You're probably skiing circles around them. I love it.
What's so funny is we'll be picking up our bags of explosives and they're 50-pound bags, right?
Right.
And I'll go and grab a bag and they're like, oh, Tammy, here, let me get that for you. And it's like, I got this.
No problem.
But I'll be honest, when I first, got on the patrol, again, when I wasn't fit and I was struggling with this, I'd say 10 years ago, and we had a chairlift breakdown and we're having to hike up the hill at 6:00 in the morning to get to the lift that could take us all the way to the top to do control work. I was struggling with my 30-pound pack and carrying my skis. So the guys were my Sherpas, right? And that made me feel bad. It's like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want them to have to carry my gear. I want to be carrying the load. I want to be carrying my fair share.
I love that.
So to be able to now show to them that I can do that, again, I've gained their respect and their confidence and trust in me because I put in the work to get to that level.
We always talk about how motivation isn't what gets you going. You might have a spark of motivation, but it's when you take action and you see results. So now that you're seeing these results, how has that kind of reinforced your motivation to keep going?
Oh gosh, I don't ever want to go back to the way I was before finding this lifestyle. I've got people that I ski with that are in their 80s. I want to be skiing in my 80s. I raft with people that are in their 70s and 80s, and I want to be there still rowing my raft in my 80s. I tell this story about this rafting trip I was on last summer with Girl Power too. It's all guys rowing except for me. I'm the only girl on the trip rowing my own raft. There's a class 5 rapid on this river we do on the Rogue in Oregon. And all the guys go and they bump rocks, they get in trouble, they have to high side, they almost lose their load. And then I go and I make a perfect clean run. I didn't bump into anything. And down at the bottom was a little girl sitting in a raft with her dad. And I was rowing back to kind of stall myself to set up, and they were right there. And I looked at her and I said, girls rule, boys rule. And I continued on. And then later on down the river, that father and daughter caught up with us, and the daughter's on the oars and she's rowing. She's only like 10. And dad looked at me and he's like, you've motivated my little girl to know that girls can do anything. And I'm like, yes, I love that.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. And the other thing is I want to be able to continue to carry my groceries. I want to lift heavy stuff. I don't want to be dependent on others. I don't want to go back to the bigger sizes in my closet. And I love the fact that people look at me and think that I'm younger.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. I love it. Was there a time when you realized, when you shocked yourself, when you were like, holy moly, I know you've touched on a couple of moments, but just I want to dive into this a bit deeper, but where you actually surprised yourself and you're like, I am stronger now than I ever have been?
Again, I think it's going back to the first day of skiing and not being sore.
Yeah.
Early season now, my skis, I can skin up a mountain and stuff. And so I'll put on my skins and I'll hike up the mountain on my skis and then ski down.
Wow.
And I get up there and it's like, wow, that was really fun. I feel really good. I'm not, exhausted. I'm not sore like I have been. And again, putting that balance with my core and my legs and stuff. If I hit a bump or whatever, I can recover and get myself in the right stance and not fall. It truly has prevented me from suffering severe injury by being very stable and having a strong core.
That's important. Yeah.
Because I don't want to be sidelined. So again, I just, the physical activities, I just find that I'm able to do them. It doesn't take me days to recover afterwards. I feel really good the next day and I'm ready to hit it again.
Amazing. And I feel like you're just giving us example after example of how this impacts your life in a positive way in so many different ways. So this is where I want to drive home what I think is one of the most important parts of our conversation. And that is breaking that belief that it is too late. Because I know that there are women listening right now who are totally inspired by you. I've known you for a long time and I'm still inspired by you, but they're still thinking that it's too late for them, even though they really, really want it. But we've proven that it's not too late. You just have to take that first step and then keep showing up. So I would love for you to talk to the woman in her 50s or 60s who is listening right now thinking, I really want this, but I'm scared it's too late. What would you tell her?
First, it is never too late. Also, don't wait for the perfect time. Like you guys always say, messy action is better than no action. Make yourself a priority. It's not selfish. And make the decision to be the best version of yourself so that you can be there for the people you love. So that if you're a grandmother, you can be active with your grandchildren so that you can be active with your spouse or your significant others. Do it for you. You matter. You know, again, I was scared to become a burden to my husband and my family. And to avoid that, I wanted to make sure that I took action. And I found that it wasn't too late. And I have 2 grandchildren. My granddaughter's 20. My grandson will be 18 next month. And my grandson thinks I'm the cool grandma, right?
Of course you are.
So I want to continue to be able to, they're now getting to the age where I could be a great grandma, you know, in the next 6 or 7 years, right? And I want to be the cool great grandma.
Great grandma. Well, I'll tell you, my grandmothers definitely did not go whitewater rafting and skiing when they were in their 60s. I can tell you that. But I think that's such a powerful message that every woman needs to hear on repeat, that you matter. Do it for you because you matter. Speaking to those women still, what is a small doable step, like a step they can take this week to build their strength, their energy, or just get started? What would you suggest?
Well, first thing, make that appointment on your calendar for yourself. Make that time, block it out. If you have a gym membership and you haven't used it, start using it. If they have a trainer there, make an appointment with them.
Yeah.
See if they can help you develop a program for you. Don't be scared to lift heavy, but don't start right away, right? You don't want to cause injury. You know, start where you're at, but then build the confidence to step it up. But you have to have good form first. So do it correctly. Avoid those injuries. Eat whole foods. Drink your water. Get your sleep. Take a time to go out for a walk. If it's even 15 minutes, set it a timer for 15 minutes and do it 3 times a day. It doesn't have to be all at once. Reach out to Marilyn. Reach out to my coach right here. Set up a meeting with her to learn about Get Sculpted because it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Invest in yourself. You are worth every single penny.
I love it so much. And one last thing before we close off this awesome combo. What keeps you personally motivated to keep pushing yourself now? Because you've had all these amazing successes. You've done all these cool things. So why keep pushing yourself? Why now?
Well, because I see things in other people my age and older that scares the crap out of me. I don't want to be one of those people that can't get out of a chair, that are dependent on others to do things for me, that have no hobbies or activities, and they're just sitting there wasting away. I want to remain strong. I want to remain independent. I want to continue to travel and do adventures. I have places to go and things to see. I have mountains to ski, rivers to raft. I'm 62 and I have a lot of things still on my list to get done. And that's what keeps me motivated.
I love that so much. And I want that for every single woman who is listening. So please let Tammy be your inspiration here. I can't thank you enough for being here, sharing your story, because it's so powerful to see what's possible when you let go of that belief that age is a barrier, right? You know, growing up, I saw the women in my life who were in their 50s and 60s and 70s. And like I said, they certainly were not doing what you're doing. And I think how beautiful, how much life is there still to live. So to everyone listening, this is what we want you to take away. Aging is inevitable, but declining health is not. Strength and energy, they're available to you at any stage of life. And you have a lot more control over how you age than I think you've been led to believe. So if you're looking for the fountain of youth, this is it. Tammy has found it. Thank you very much. Strength training, nourishing your body, being consistent. This is how you age backwards, because when you're building muscle, fueling your body and moving with purpose, I love that saying that says, you're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. And that is what you are doing. And if you've been doubting yourself, let Tammy be the one to tell you that it's not too late. You are capable of becoming your strongest, fittest self at this age. And if you want to age with grace, the time to start is now. So if you haven't started already, today is the day, because it's going to shape tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So as always, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Tammy, thank you so much for being here.
Oh gosh, thank you for letting me share my story. I want every woman to feel what I feel.
I love it so much. And you know what? I'm sure you're leaving inspired, but we would love for you to share this episode with other women in your life, especially those in their 50s and 60s who need that reminder that it is not too late to feel this strength and feel this capable and confident. In fact, the only too late time is the moment where you stop believing that things are possible for you and you give up. So we will catch you next time on the next episode of Get Sculpted. Until then, Tammy and I are saying goodbye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.